So this is the piece of work that I've been doing with Business Wales, and we hope that it will be published very soon. There's actually a guide available from 2012 under the Welsh Government. You can just type in Wales joint bidding, it'll come up straight away. It's a little bit out of date though. And so what I've done is I've updated the guide and made it very practical, and it's much more a how to collaborate and how to form a consortium. And I've based it down to these 8 phases. I feel like by taking this kind of step-by-step approach, it doesn't become too overwhelming, and it helps people to have a pause and a reflect before moving on to the next element. So this is some of the work that I'm just sharing with you, courtesy of Business Wales. The property of this belongs to Business Wales, and it's funded by the Welsh Government Department for Economy. So basically, the first question is why collaborate? Understanding why that might be important to you as an organization. And importantly, are you ready to collaborate, to be able to share information with others and not be worried that you're going to lose your USP, your IP, and so on. So it's about thinking very carefully about whether you are, in that space, first of all. It depends on possibly the experience that you have. And maybe the length and duration of which your business has been running, and so on. It could be a whole number of different factors. But I think that why collaborate and how it's going to help my business to grow is going to be really, really important. Number 2 is to think about who we should partner with and why. And I'll just go through a couple of steps that you can take to help you with partner selection in a moment. So I won't dwell on that too much now. But importantly, if you're going to collaborate, you're inevitably going to be sharing information, as we would know as data in some way. So you really do need to think that if you're going to be doing that, what kind of data do you need to ensure that you are better prepared to deliver that contract more effectively? Importantly, how are you going to share that information collectively so that everybody has access to it? And will your partners be sharing with you? So I think this is a really, really important fact, because quite often one of the areas where partnership working can really fall down. Some assume that if I want to share something, that somebody will share something back with me. But of course, if you haven't pre-agreed this, then of course it can have ramifications, particularly when we are communicating electronically. You send an email out and say, oh, here, by the way, here's my client data, or here's my projection for the next 6 months. Would you mind sending me yours? And suddenly there's this kind of wall of silence, and you think, hang on, what's going on here? And that can be perceived as kind of a breakdown of trust, or but actually it can be very, very different reasons. So I think early conversations about what information you need within the collaboration can be really important, because then there are no surprises later on, and it's okay to say no. I think that's the most important thing. But let's establish those boundaries at the outset, and don't wait for things to happen when you're delivering the contract and you actually rely on that information coming through and somebody's not forthcoming with that. So I think really important to think about those things early on. How will you resource the partnership? Because remember that if you're working in partnership with other businesses to fulfill the needs of a public contract, this is running alongside the rest of your business. So, think about overall what the dependency factor might be. How much of this contract would be worth representative of your overall turnover? I wouldn't suggest that you use any more than 40 to 50% of your overall turnover to go for this public sector opportunity through a consortium arrangement, because it can represent, high risk for the rest of your business developing.